You're standing in a room full of people. Someone's telling a story, and you can feel the shape of it, the pauses, the places where laughter is supposed to arrive. You're not bored exactly, but your mind has already stepped back. You notice who's performing, who's retreating, who's reaching for something no one is offering. You watch the conversation like it's a mechanism you can almost map, and then a quieter thought surfaces from somewhere underneath all that watching. Why can't I just be here? And almost immediately, you judge yourself for asking it. It's not that you dislike people. You're not afraid of them. What's happening is stranger and lonelier than that. You're reaching for a depth the room can't provide. You showed up hoping for something real, and instead, you're watching people trade lightness back and forth like a currency you don't carry. The worst part isn't the distance itself. It's the suspicion that you're doing something wrong. This feeling follows you home. You leave the gathering, and for the first hour, there's relief. Quiet, space. No voices to track, no expressions to decode, no need to make your face match the rhythm of the room. But then, often on the same night, something else settles in. Restlessness. A vague, directionless ache. You wanted time alone, and now that you have it, it feels less like freedom and more like a different kind of emptiness. It's a double bind with an ache inside it. In company, you feel drained and unseen. In solitude, you feel the ghost of a need for connection that still hasn't been met. And if both paths leave you hollow, the question that eventually surfaces is brutal. Where do I actually belong? When this pattern repeats enough, you reach for labels. Introvert, socially awkward, maybe avoidant. Parts of them fit well enough to offer temporary relief. You think, okay, this is the blueprint. I'm supposed to find people exhausting. I'm supposed to prefer being alone. But the fit is never complete because you're not afraid of social situations. You don't lack the skills. The real problem is harder to say out loud. The type of exchange that seems to satisfy most people, the weather, the logistics, the repeating of familiar stories, leaves a part of your mind completely untouched. It's not that you're overwhelmed, it's that the encounter doesn't land. You walk away having performed sociability without having been fed. And that absence of landing becomes, over time, its own kind of loneliness, one that happens in plain sight. What's actually happening here isn't a personality defect. It's a processing mismatch. Your mind works with a certain density of information. It seeks patterns, depth, underlying structure. But everyday social interaction often operates at a lower resolution. Small talk isn't designed to carry complex emotional data. It's designed to regulate comfort and safety. Neither mode is wrong. They're just calibrated for different needs. So the exhaustion you feel afterward isn't brokenness. It's friction. It's the cost of taking a mind that wants depth, pattern, and emotional truth into spaces that mostly ask it to keep things light. You can do it. You can smile at the right moment, ask the right follow-up, keep the room moving, repeat the familiar social script, but something in you pays for it. Not because you're above anyone, not because other people are shallow, but because your system is listening for a signal that the room was never trying to send. Once you see this, self-blame starts to loosen. You weren't failing at connection. You were looking for a different kind of signal in an environment where the bandwidth couldn't carry it. That's not a judgment against the room. It's not a judgment against you. It's just a mismatch. And when you can name the mismatch, the guilt loses some of its authority. But here's the part that's harder to admit. The same pattern doesn't only happen out there. It happens in here too, in your solitude. Because solitude isn't one thing. If you're honest, you'll recognize two very different shapes of being alone. The first kind looks like this. It's 9 p.m. on a Saturday. You're on the couch, phone in hand. Messages are sitting there unread. You tell yourself you're recharging, but you're not really resting. You're hiding. The quiet doesn't feel restorative. It feels numb. You scroll past calls you should return. You let hours pass without substance. And underneath the still surface, there's a quiet guilt, a sense that you're not choosing solitude as much as disappearing into it, avoiding the risk of being unseen again, avoiding the effort of translating yourself, avoiding the small humiliation of bringing your depth into a room that may not know what to do with it. This kind of solitude doesn't refill anything, it just stalls. Then there's the other kind, the one that actually does what solitude is supposed to do. Imagine a different evening. You're walking alone, no phone, no input. Your mind is working through something real, something you've been carrying for days. You're not escaping yourself. You're digesting. You're letting your own thoughts run without needing to shape them for anyone else's ears. There's no performance, no filter, no need to translate the full complexity of what you feel into something acceptable for the room. Just the slow, quiet work of metabolizing experience. And when you return home, you don't feel hollow. You feel a little more solid, a little more you. The uncomfortable truth is that not all your alone time has been the second kind. Some of it has been the first. Some of it has been withdrawal dressed up as independence, a slow retreat from the risk of connection worn like armor. But there's a strange relief in naming this. It means your need for solitude isn't a lie. It's real. And it's necessary. When it's honest, when you're digesting the world, solitude is alive and essential. When you're escaping from it, solitude becomes a quiet trap. From here, the loneliness itself starts to look different. You can stop treating it as a verdict. It's not proof that you're failing at life or friendship. It's more like a dashboard light. It tells you a need isn't being met. It doesn't tell you to panic. It doesn't say you are broken. It only says, look here, something needs your attention. When that feeling rises, you can pause and ask, what kind of connection am I actually missing right now? The kind casual socializing provides, or the deeper frequency, the exchange of real thought and real feeling that I haven't found a home for recently? The loneliness doesn't disappear, but it becomes legible. And once it's legible, you can respond with clarity instead of shame. You're not broken, you were never broken. What you're living with isn't a malfunction to be fixed. It's the natural experience of running a more complex operating system in a world that often rewards simpler ones. The silence you sometimes feel isn't failure. It's the echo of a mind that processes at depth, moving through spaces that weren't designed to hold that much complexity. Your solitude, when it's honest, is not a symptom. It's how a deep processor clears its cache and makes sense of being alive. And the longing that sometimes finds you, even when you're alone, isn't proof that you're doing solitude wrong. It's evidence that you're still reaching, still human, still wired for connection, on terms that match the depth at which you actually live. That longing is not your weakness. It's the part of you that has not given up. If this space helps you feel less alone inside that depth, subscribe. There will be more quiet rooms like this.